Today our topic is theory of consumer behavior. Here we study the two theories of consumer behavior, cardinal utility analysis and ordinal utility analysis. First of all, we study the cardinal utility analysis. Human wants are unlimited and they are of different intensity. The means that are disposal of are not only scarce but they have alternative uses. As a result of scarcity of resources, the consumer cannot satisfy all of his want. He has to choose as to which want is to be satisfied first and which afterward, if the resources permit him. The consumer is confronted in making a choice. For example, a man is hungry, he goes to the market and satisfies his hunger by purchasing bread instead of fruits. The consumer buys a commodity because it gives him satisfaction. In technical terms, the consumer purchases a commodity because it has a utility. Now, cardinal utility analysis tell us that the utility which we derive from the use of goods or services can be measured in terms of numbers: 10 unit, 8 unit, 20 unit, etc. Utility can be measured, and we can say it is the quantitative method of measuring utility. Utility has a numeric value: 10 unit, 20 unit, 30 unit, etc. Now we study the assumption of cardinal approach. Cardinal approach will tell us about the measurement on numerical measurement of utility. Assumption first one is utility is measurable. We can measure the utility which we derive from the use of goods or services. Marginal utility of money remain constant. It is another important assumption of the cardinal utility analysis. The marginal utility of money spent on the purchase of goods or services should remain constant. Number 3, diminishing marginal utility. Utility which we derive from the additional unit of goods or services by a consumer diminish continuously as its consumption is increased. Another assumption is utilities are additive. The assumption of cardinal utility is that individuals can add it together to derive the total utility. For example, a consumer consumes x1, x2, x3 up to any units of commodity and derive u1, u2, u3 up to un utility respectively. So, the total utility derived from n units of a commodity will be un is equal to u1 into x1 plus u2 into x2 plus u3 into x3 up to so on. First assumption of cardinal utility is independent utility. According to this assumption, the utility which is derived from the consumption of a good is a function of quantity of that good alone. It does not depend upon all the quantity consumed for other goods. The goods, we can say, possess independent utility. It means the utility of a good is not affected by the utility of other goods. We study the other approach, that is ordinal approach of consumer behavior. In this approach, we study the utility is measured in degrees rather than numeric values. We can say we obtain utilities in A grade, B grade, C grade, and here is no numeric value for measurement of utility. It is the qualitative method to measure utility. Now we move towards the assumption of ordinal approach. First one is rationality. In this approach, we study consumer is rational. Consumer is rational in making decision from their expenditure on consumer goods. Number two, utility is ordinal. Utility cannot be measured cardinally. It can, however, be expressed ordinally in shape of ranks or groups or classes. Number three, diminishing marginal rate of substitution. In this approach, the principle of diminishing marginal rate of substitution is assumed. As we start to substitute one commodity from another, our intensity of want to substitute the good from another is decreasing as continuously. Number 3, 4, consistency in choice. The consumer, it is assumed, is consistent in his behavior during a period of time. For example, if a consumer prefers combination of A good to combination of good B, he then remains consistent in his choice. His preferences during another period of time does not change. Symbolically, it can be expressed as if A is much better than B, goods consumed are substitutable. It means that we substitute some unit of good A with some units of B. Last one is consumer preferences not self-contradictory. The consumer preferences are not self-contradictory means if the combination A is preferred over combination B and combination B is preferred over C, then combination A is preferred over combination C.